What up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back with our final regular season week. And you might think, it's already happened. The season's already almost to the end. Yes, it is. It's been quick. And to that point, Ty, you're slowly pulling away. With the Bulls coming up, though, that's really my only chance with the Bull pick'ems, which, are always hard to pick. But going almost perfect, almost 22-0 last week.
Yeah, I just want to talk to Oregon for a second here. I think I was like 19-0 going into the night games, and I just want to ask what happened. It's not only they lost by 31 points, got destroyed by, a Utah team that was ranked in the 20s, not a team to get blown out by. So very disappointed there, and that ruined my undefeated record.
Yeah, I looked like a complete dummy taking SMU there. That does not look good. And the Kansas State and Wake Forest games, they were kind of close games, but realistically, they didn't have a shot. But I need to gain some picks, this week, and because I'm already down 7 heading into this week and the Bowl pick'ems. And we'll start by taking the same pick here. We're going with Ole Miss, which is, look at that line. Mississippi State's actually favored in this game, and I definitely would take the Ole Miss money line for sure. I just can't see them losing this game with Matt Corral still being the QB. And Lane Kiffin has had a really good year coaching, and he could, potentially win Coach of the Year.
Yeah, that line does scare me a little bit because it was kind of the same with the Oregon-Utah game, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And obviously, Utah destroyed Oregon. So I am going to pick Ole Miss a little cautiously. I think this game's going to be kind of heated here. Because it's Lane Kiffin. That's just how it usually goes, and it's a rivalry. So I think it'll get a little heated, but Ole Miss is a better team, and I don't think it's super close. I think Mississippi State's just favored because they're at home, but Ole Miss should pull this off.
And we'll start with tomorrow's games. The day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, we got Boise State and San Diego State. And I'm going with San Diego State just because, Brady Hoke is another coach that could win Coach of the Year. Came out of nowhere, this program, and I believe it will be a really good game, which will come down probably to the last possession.
Yeah, Brady Hoke is a great coach, obviously, because I keep picking against them because, they don't have as much talent as some of these other teams, and they keep winning. So he's done a good job, but I think Boise State's the most talented team in this conference. I think they can go in there and win this game, and, I don't see Boise State pulling off a 7-5 season. That's just not what they do.
And at 1:30, we got Iowa and Nebraska. And, Nebraska realistically should be 6-6 or 5-6, 6-5 at worst. They've just been in so many, like Michigan and Michigan State probably should have beat them both if we can, sit here and talk about that. They blew both those games, but maybe this is finally a game that they can win, pull off the big upset and hang in the game. But I just can't see it happen just off of recent this year. So I'm going with Iowa.
Yeah, I maybe would have picked Nebraska, but I think I heard Martinez is out, and if not, he's banged up, not playing 100%. So I got to go with Iowa here. But obviously, Nebraska is going to keep it close because they don't lose blowouts. They only lose close games. But I got to rock with Iowa here.
And at 3:30, we got finally number 4 team in the country in Cincinnati. They get the respect they deserve. And wouldn't it be funny if they just lost this game, after finally getting in? But I don't see that happening. This team's hot, they're on a roll, and they'll get to 12-0 and hopefully face, Houston, I think, or yep. Houston in the American Championship, and win that, there's no way they aren't in.
Yeah, I think Cincinnati covers here. They looked like a different team last week. They look more motivated now. So I think they cover this week and win next week.
And another game at 3:30, Missouri and Arkansas. And this game is really kind of just a toss-up. I think, I don't know, that 14.5 seems like a lot just because how inconsistent Arkansas has been. But to their credit, I think they got this 25 ranking after a loss just because, they played Alabama tough. Could have walked away with a victory, but unfortunately, Bryce Young pretty much clutched up and had his best game of his career. And this Missouri team, they've had their ups and downs, but I just don't see them pulling it off here. And Arkansas finished the season 8-4 heading into bowls.
Yeah, I do think 14.5 seems like a lot. I think Missouri covers this game, but Arkansas, that's a program going in the right direction for sure. I think they win this game, and an 8-win season is huge for them if they can get there. And I think they will.
And at 4 o'clock, we got Utah and Colorado. And, that Utah team coming off a huge win last week pretty much just derailed the whole Pac-12's chances of getting in the playoff. But to their credit, this team is hot. They started the season, I think 1-3, I believe, and they've ripped off 7 straight. And here they are going to rip off 8 straight. I think, finish the season 9-3. And I don't know, do they have a chance for I think they do have a shot for the
They're already in now.
They are? Okay. So they, just win this game, guaranteed in, whatever. But, I think they will.
Yeah, I guess I like the underdogs this week. I think Colorado's going to cover that 23.5. Utah coming off a huge win, maybe a little letdown here. And they struggled with Arizona before they played Oregon, who is like 1-9 at this point. So I think Utah wins comfortably, 2 touchdowns at least, but I think Colorado covers.
And at 7, we got a disappointing North Carolina 6-5, which we thought at the beginning of the year was overrated. And now you got NC State, who's pretty solid this year at 8-3. And I'm going with NC State at home. I just can't see, how they lose this game. They've been playing really well. But, you're going with North Carolina here, our first, disagreement.
Yeah, this is my upset for this week. North Carolina was top 10 to start the season, so obviously haven't performed how they should have, but they have a lot of talent. That's why they were ranked that high. And I think Mac Brown, great coach, he's due for a good win. And what better time to do it than in your big rivalry game, end of the year? So I think North Carolina, I think they can go in there and win. There's a lot of pressure on NC State to potentially win the Coastal. So I think North Carolina is going to kind of feed off that. Nothing to lose. I think they'll win the game.
And Saturday, we're getting into Saturday games. Georgia, I don't think we need to talk about this one. They're already in the playoff. And if somehow, some way they lose this game, they don't deserve to be in the playoff. That's pretty much all you really know here is obviously we're both from Georgia. And Ty, I'll let you go at this one first.
Okay. All bias not aside, I am taking Michigan here. I just can't pick against them. I can't pick that school in red over there, but a lot's gonna have to go right for Michigan to win this game. They have to put a lot of pressure on Stroud. We've seen him struggle a little bit under pressure, and if you don't put pressure on him, he'll do what he did to the Spartans last week. He'll tear you up. They have 3 NFL receivers, so got to put pressure on him. Can't kick field goals when you're on offense, and you got to force maybe a turnover or 2. And Michigan's got a shot. I feel like I say that every time this rivalry is played. It never really goes well, but I'm gonna rock with Michigan here. Maybe some false hope.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's definitely going to be, the focus right now is all on our defense versus their offense. Well, I think it's really going to be our offense versus their defense. That's what it's going to come down to, because it seems like every year, Ohio State, they have an okay defense and they have some top picks at corner. But at the end of the day, we got to score to keep up if our defense can't hang. And do I think we can do it? Yeah, I think this is finally, a year where we are solidified at quarterback and we're not too complaining about it, because, McNamara still threw over 400 against Michigan State. Unfortunately, we didn't win that game, but, really showed that he's a competitor and he can ball. And I'm going with Michigan just because, the bias is there. There is bias, but, they're due sometime. It may not be this year. It could be next year, who knows, but it's got to happen. Harbaugh's got to at least do it once, and hopefully this is the year.
If not now, then when?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Baylor in this one. I think I'm surprised they're ranked this high. I will say it seems like the committee has loved them ever since the first rankings. Obviously, they're a good team. Number 8 seems high, but they should win this game pretty easily. Maybe Texas Tech has a chance to cover, but I think Baylor should win by at least the 14. So.
And we're both going with Wake Forest here. Some pretty bad losses as of late. This team was 9? I believe they were 9-0 or 8-0 just a few weeks ago, and they've pretty much hit rock bottom for their season. But I expect them to bounce back here. And Sam Hartman is a name to remember for next year. because he's been really good this year. And considering, he's having a good year, we'll see what he can do next year. As Clemson's going to be reloaded and the whole ACC is going to be reloaded. So it's going to be interesting to see how this Wake Forest team is next year.
Yeah, not much to say about this one. UConn, not good. Houston just don't look ahead.
Yeah, I mean, same here. UTSA, having a really good season that no one's talking about because they're a no-name school, not a Power Five. But we're both going with a victory here against North Texas.
Yeah. This one, Auburn, I think would have hung around if Bo Nix was healthy, but I don't know if he's out, but if he's playing, I know he's banged up. So I actually thought he was able to maybe have some success on the Alabama defense, but if he's hurt, I don't see Auburn hanging around. I think Alabama could even cover, even though it's a high spread.
And see, that's where I'm going against you here. I know that it's Alabama and Auburn's, question marks around the whole team right now, but this game is still a rivalry. It's in Auburn. We've seen what the Iron Bowl ending, the Chris Davis kick return. There's been some crazy things that have happened in the last 10 years in this rivalry. And to Auburn's credit, this is the game they play for every year. They're already bowl eligible. They don't need to win this game, but this is the game they want to win. And you could say it's like the Michigan, Ohio State, Auburn hasn't had success in this rivalry in a while. And why not this year? Especially, you get to knock Alabama out of the playoffs and, you finally get that win against Alabama at home. What better year than this year? If not this year, then when?
Yeah. This game could be dangerous here. Oregon State is a really underrated team this year, and it seems like this rivalry always comes out with some close games. And Oregon State's actually had some decent success against Oregon, even though Oregon's been way more talented than them basically every year. So this could be dangerous for Oregon, especially with a little hangover coming off that blowout loss, but I think they do pull it off. I think it's going to be close.
And at 3:30, we got Penn State, Michigan State, and we're technically going with the rankings upset with Penn State here. And Mel Tucker, 95 million, you just paid him 95 million to get blown out by 49. And, it's just lots of question marks, surrounding how are they going to respond. And I just think this team's going to finish 9-3 after that, great start to the season. But the loss to Purdue, loss to Ohio State, and now loss to Penn State, right back to where they started, under Dan Antonio ages. And I think Penn State's going to walk away with a road victory here.
I think Penn State's the more talented team. I think Michigan State was just, feeding off all that motivation. Mel Tucker's been a great coach, but when you're just kind of feeding off that chip on your shoulder and then you get absolutely blown out, that makes it a lot more difficult to do that. And I think Penn State's a really good team that can stop Kenneth Walker. I mean, they have great run defense, so I think they can win a low-scoring game here.
Another game at 3:30, big game for the other side of the Big Ten is Wisconsin, Minnesota. And I think Wisconsin is going to pull off Minnesota's going to pull off the upset here with PJ Fleck. Finally, winning not like a big game at Minnesota, but, if they win this and Nebraska wins, Minnesota's in the playoff or in the championship facing either Ohio State or Michigan. And I think it will happen. And I don't know, this is my upset pick, of the week.
I mean, I hope they win. If Michigan beats Ohio State somehow, then obviously I'd rather have them play Minnesota than Wisconsin, who's been playing really well. They won 7 in a row. I think they're one of the hottest teams out there right now. No one really wants to face them, and I just think they're going to get it done here by running the ball.
And at 7, we're heading to the night games. We got Texas A&M, LSU. Ed Orgeron's potentially last game if he loses this. And I think it is going to be his last game at home. Tough way to go out, but Texas A&M has been really good. Still beat that big Alabama win is really, not just did this for the university, but for the whole, all college football fans, because, we don't like Alabama. It seems like they're good every year. But, I'm going Texas A&M here. And I don't know, that 6.5 is kind of intriguing for, taking the points for LSU.
Yeah, I'm going with A&M. I think LSU, with everything going on, Ed Orgeron obviously leaving after this season. Are they really going to be motivated to win this game and then stick around and have 4 weeks of practice for a bowl game? I just don't think so. So I don't think the motivation is going to be there, especially with Texas A&M being the more talented team. So I think they should go in there and win.
And the second biggest game of the week, Oklahoma State, and we're both riding with the Cowboys this week. They've looked really good. What was their only loss? Baylor, I believe.
Yep.
And Baylor's ranked 8th in the country, so this team isn't bad. I forgot to put Oklahoma State's ranking, but they're really good. And I just think that they're going to walk away with a victory here, and another victory in the Big 12 championship, and they might be that 4th team that's in the playoff.
Yeah, a lot of people don't want to believe it, but I really think Oklahoma State is going to get into the playoff at the end of the year. I think they win this game playing at home, even though Oklahoma has just dominated the entire series. I think this is their time. I think Oklahoma State is clearly the better team. And if they win this game, they get a rematch with Baylor. I think they win that. And all they would need is Georgia to beat Alabama. And if that happens, I think they get in as the 4th team. So I think they're going to finally get a big win over Oklahoma. It's been a while.
And another game, not really much to talk about here, except Kenny Pickett, has had a good year for Pitt. And I expect them to go to 10-2 here against a pretty bad Syracuse team.
Here's a tough one here. I think 11.5 is a lot of points going on the road. South Carolina has been playing a lot better. They found their stride. They just beat Auburn. I guess Vegas must know something. Maybe they're going off Clemson, getting a big win last week. Obviously, they have, top 10 talent in the country. So I think they should go in and win this game. Rivalry game should motivate them, especially coming off a big win. So they should get this win.
And I'm going with South Carolina in the upset. They beat Auburn last week and at home, and now you get Clemson at home to close out the year. Why not? 2 big wins at the end of the year. And I think they can do it, just because Clemson, they've slowly coasted to this 8-3 record, just because the ACC's been so bad. And now you get South Carolina, big rivalry game. And I think, that this is the time where South Carolina's going to do it.
Yeah, Notre Dame, typical ho-hum game, I guess you can say. They're going to go 11-1. And as I was saying, Oklahoma State, I think they're going to get in. Well, if Oklahoma State loses, say in the Big 12 championship, I think Notre Dame gets in as that 4th team. The committee, obviously, they love Notre Dame. So if they have a chance to put them in, I think they will. And I think Notre Dame, obviously, they should win this game.
And I believe this is our last game of the week. USC, pretty dismal year after already the firing of their head coach early. And BYU, to their credit, 13th for a 9-2 team that's, independent. That's kind of surprising where they're ranking them. Obviously, they have big faith in this. It'd be interesting to see if they were 10-1 to see, where they would rank. But I think at the end of the day, they're going to move to 10-2 here.
Yeah, they're just the way more motivated team here. So I think BYU should win. Going on the road, nobody's going to be in that stadium, though.
And, that's going to be it for our video today. We kind of had to release it a little later here this week on Thursday, but glad we got it in and glad you guys are watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Happy Thanksgiving to all out there, and the Bench Buddies are out.
She never called back.